Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another good looking puzzle here. This one is called Shady Circles by Ridhwan. It's been a while since I've done a Ridhwan puzzle, so that'd be fun to get into this one. To my understanding, this one is a little bit on the medium-ish, slightly above difficulty level. Anyway, just as information there, really. So what do we got going on here? Let's just take a look at our rules and try to get into this thing. So we've got normal Stoker's apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. We've got shade sum cells such that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected, all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and no 2x2 area is fully shaded or fully unshaded. Okay, so we have to create some grouping of cells, and this, I'm not going to go through all this, but where we have, let's say these are unshaded, these are shaded, and we'll forget about this side, but where they're all orthogonally connected, such as this, and then all the unshaded are orthogonally connected, and there are no 2x2 boxes that are fully shaded or unshaded. So if we ignore these last two things over here, this would be a valid fill-in there. So there's that. Then there's a bit more on this one. A circled digit in the shaded cells indicates exactly how many circles contain that digit in that shaded cells. A circled digit in the shaded cells indicates exactly how many circles contain that digit in the shaded cells and vice versa. Okay, I think that should say the shaded cells, but so my understanding would be that, again, let's say something like this. I'm not going to, again, go crazy, but what it means that if this is shaded and this is, let's say this circle is a 4, it means that there would have to be 4 total circles in the shaded regions that have the digit 4. So that's the concept. It's kind of like, what's the name of it? Counting circles, that sort of situation. And that'll also apply to unshaded areas, the same concept, just vice versa. Then we have digits along an arrow must sum to that digit on that arrow's circle. Having talking problems apparently today. But these two digits here, when you add them up, they will add up to whatever this value is. That's the same on all of these arrows. Additionally, and this is highlighted, so it must be very important, the arrow and its circle must have different shading, okay? E.g., if row 1, column 2 is shaded, then row 1, row 2, and row 2, column 1 must be unshaded. So if this is a shaded cell, these must be unshaded. If this is a shaded cell, these must be unshaded, etc. And if this is unshaded, these must be shaded. So, okay. So there we go. Those are the rules. There's not a lot of rules here, but I think this might get a little complex in determining how all this is going to work together. So with that said, link's going to be in the description below. Let's take a gander at this one and see if we can get it figured out. So where the heck are we going to start? Is a good question. I guess we can count our circles. At first, yeah, well, I guess it doesn't, will it actually do us any good is the question. I don't know that it is, because normally when we have counting circles, it doesn't matter about the shaded and the unshaded, and there's only one grouping of circles. This has both shaded and unshaded, so the counting circle is going to be divided into 2 different groupings. Yeah, so I don't know that we can necessarily get into or care too much at the moment as to how many circles there are. But if we get to that point and have to go down that road, we will. Okay, Notice we do have a 4 in here, so this thing's going to probably be very important as to where we're getting into this thing. I don't see how it is at the moment, though, but that's okay. Okay, let's think about arrows, I guess. So we've got 2 3-cell arrows where all the values see each other, so there's no repetition that can occur, so they must at least be 6s. So 1, 2, 3 would equal 6. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. And of course, this 4 doesn't impact these at all. What else do we have to look at here? Because these other arrows don't do a whole lot. But maybe we need to think about the dichotomy of shaded and unshaded with our arrows. And we might have to do some generic coloring. This is going to be a coloring exercise, no matter what, because it's shaded and unshaded. We have to keep track of it, but we're going to know some things. Like, first off, I'm going to use random colors that don't necessarily mean anything in terms of whether they're considered shaded or unshaded. So whatever this is the opposite. Now, what does that say? Not too much. Whatever this is the opposite. Does that tell us anything? Because essentially what we want to try to get to, I guess, is first off, knowing whether it's shaded or unshaded. And then secondly, if we can create groupings of shaded and unshaded, or at least knowing that they're part of the same grouping, we can make some more determinations. Because in these types of puzzles where we have to do the interconnected unshaded and shadeds, we know some things about the frame of this puzzle. So let's say this is shaded and this is unshaded, or this is shaded and this is unshaded. We would know that there's absolutely no way to break up this outer ring in any way other than having some connected group of unshaded joining up with some connected group of shaded. Because if we were to have like little oases, if you will, so let's say, as an example, let's say these are all unshaded. Now this is shaded. Let's say these we find out are shaded. These guys would have to all connect as shaded because we can't have a gap in it. Because if we do, let's just put the color in. Let's just say these are like this. There's no way we can ever connect these two and be able to then connect the other groupings together. So across the board, there's always going to be that grouping where we have one solid row or collection of unshaded and one solid grouping of shaded. Now, there is the possibility that they could all be unshaded or they could all be shaded, but we can't have more than one break in the line, if you will. So, can we then say something about how these are working together? Because how I was marking them kind of says something. So, is it possible that these are different? So let's remove this color and say it's this, and that this is this. we've now broken this puzzle by what I've stated, because we've just said now this and this have to connect together somehow along the perimeter, but they can't because they get blocked down here. So no matter how we connect these guys, we've just isolated one section of this. So these have to be the same. Whatever they are, we don't know what they are, but they are what they are, which means these have to be whatever that is. And then all of these have to also be here. Now we don't know what this guy is. It could be either or, but we're going to know that these corners now have to be whatever the yellow is, because we can't have a 2x2 grouping. Now then, this we know is yellow, so these have to be the opposite, so they are a blue grouping. These two here must be yellow, because this is blue. And can we continue from there? Let's think. Did it say something about the... No, that must have been a different puzzle. I thought there's something to do with the given digits, but I think I was reading the rules of another puzzle that just invaded my brain there for a minute. I'm going to look at the rules real quick just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Doop. Okay, no, that's not the case in this. Trying to do too much in one day, I guess. Getting things mixed up. So, this guy is sort of intriguing because there's another quality of these types of shaded and unshaded is that we can never have a checkerboard pattern occur. Because if we did, we have the same problem we would come into with the outside ring. You'd have to try to connect them in some way, and inherently you will segregate one of the colors from its friends. We don't want to do that. So we know this cannot be two yellows like this. We know one of them is yellow. But I don't know that we can use that here at the moment. Now let's think about these arrows that are kind of touching the edge in the same concept we thought about for these guys. Can we formulate something there? Because if these were both yellow, that would force these guys to be blue. And then yellow would just have to escape out the corner here. That seems like it's possible. Oh, these can't be blue, obviously. Duh. Think about it from the other side. These can't be blue because they would be putting the yellow into a corner, and nobody puts yellow in a corner. So these have to be yellow. Therefore, these are both blue. Yellow has to get out of here. And we have a little something there. What about some of these other ones? How can we think on them? Don't necessarily see how this one comes into play at the moment, because it looks like these could be yellow without it being a real problem, because there's ways you can connect in and around, and you can get the yellow out without causing problems. Same with blue. You would just be well, I just talked myself into this. It can be done. This can't be blue, because that pushes yellow, again, into the corner. And the only way I can get... Oh no, maybe I haven't. Sorry, I was thinking this would also be yellow. This could get out this way. Okay, so that... Yeah, it doesn't look like that one does get us to that... to a stopping point. Okay. Thought I was on the edge there, but I'm not. What about you? You're either connecting to blue there or yellow here. If you went the blue way, we'd have to get the yellows out of Dodge. And they would have to do that, because this blue, therefore, would be isolated and have to get into here. This would be yellow as well. I don't see necessarily an issue with that. What about if it was yellow? We're looking at blue having to get in here. But again, it doesn't look like there's any problem with either one of those. The only other error we have left to look at the moment is this one, but he's kind of off of the other ones. I think we need to figure out this one first. Okay. Now, was there anything further we could have done with this? Trying to think of how something could break in here. Because we know this is going to be one blue and one yellow. I don't really like doing it that way. Just kind of playing with this for a second. This one would end up having to be yellow, but it doesn't seem like that's a problem. But is it? This yellow's got to connect back in somehow. I think this is actually a problem. Because I don't think we can connect blue back to blue, at least these three, without cutting this yellow off. I mean, we can think about all sorts of ways these things could get connected, but this yellow has to find a way past this barrier. But yeah, no matter how you do it, I think we've just blocked this blue off from getting back to its buds. Because again, we could connect these somehow off to the side, but even if they didn't connect, we have to be able to get the yellow back over to here somehow. And now we've got this ocean of blue that is segregated, or we're coming down through here somewhere to connect back to the yellow. And then we could get our blue out this way, but then we've just segregated this yellow. So I think that is incorrect, and this must do this. Yeah, because now there's freedom for the yellow to find a couple of paths out if it needs it. Okay. Now I do really want to get into this guy somehow. I guess one thing we can say is that these guys are opposites to each other. Is that helpful at this point, or do we need to figure one of them out first? Because obviously we can't have these be the same grouping, because we'll always have a 2x2 of the same color in the middle. Okay. So maybe we do have to think about how this guy interacts then. Because the option is it's blue-yellow like this, or it's yellow-blue. This would have to be blue. Because we can't have the corner crossing like that. Let's go back. thinking about corners can't cross. This has to be blue. It's a little something that's a bit easier to just work out. What else do we have? I might need to go back to this guy. Obviously, one of these must be yellow. One of these must be blue. I don't know that we can... I don't know if we can use the counting circles yet to start doing anything, but we might need to go look at that in a minute if we can't reason ourselves into something usable here. Let's go back to this thought. It forces this. This has to get out. I'm not going to take this very far, but just want to have a little bit of a visual there. This has to get out. This would have to be blue. I think this can work. Like I said, I don't want to go too far with it, but because this would connect here, and then we could either connect the yellow up here or here, and then the blue would find its way on the opposite side. So I think that works, or can work. What if it was the opposite? We're looking at something like this. That can get out that way or this way. It would have to go out this way. It doesn't have to only go out that way, though, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think this is running into a problem either right away. Again, I don't want to go down the entire path. There's got to be something more direct that we can see without having to go down this long road of trying to see if something eventually breaks. I don't see anything on that. So, and again, we looked at this. I don't think there was anything here. That caused any real problems. So we would again be forced to put the yellow to come out. These blues would have to get out. This would come this way. We'd have something up here that just has to connect in at some point. And that all seems like it could very well work. Okay, I don't see it on here. Let's maybe take a little dive into the counting circles. See if there's anything in that. What do we have so far? So it looks like we have 26 of these guys. I don't think there's anything we can do with that information, as I stated at the beginning. Oh, you know what we can do? And I didn't think about this right off the bat. These can't be 9s. because there are no circles in this region. So if either one of these was a 9, you'd have to be able to put a 9 in 9 different rows and columns, and that would force there to be a 9 in every single region as well. What that does is it says there's 1s on these. I don't know if that's really helpful. It starts to push this, though, because this now has to get up to at least 5. So maybe this is in some way helpful. I'll just put all these in just so we don't make a mistake later if we forget that we were just putting a placeholder there. Not that I think we are. This can't be a 9. We can't really rule this thing down either from the 6, 7, or 8, because it could be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Well, maybe we can do a little something, but I don't know if it's going to really be helpful. 1, 2, 3 for a 6, 1, 2, 4 for a 7, and the 8 could either be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. I guess we can say this isn't a 6. So yeah, that does help us, because this can't be a 4, 5. If this was a 1, 2, 3, this would have to be 4, 5, 2, 9, and it can't be. So this is not 6. Okay, so there is a little bit going on there, at least. Now we know this is either 7 or 8. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, or 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 4, sorry. Does 1, 2, 4 cause any issues? No, because it could just be a 3, 5 here. And this could be an 8. So that the 7 could work, because again, it would be 1, 2, 4 with a 7. This would be a 3, 5 with an 8, and there's nothing broken there. Now, if these were an 8, we would have to find 8 blue circles and 7 blue circles. Can we get this thing higher? Can this be a 5, if we think about it from that perspective? So it'd either have to be 1, 4 or 2, 3. This would have to be an 8. Because 1, 2, 4 would never work. 1, 2, 5 would never work. And 1, 3, 4 would never work. So no, this can't be 5. Okay, so maybe that's the way to think about it. If we start getting these digits up high, we know we have to take on a lot of digits in our circles with certain coloring, and that could become helpful. So let's continue this a little bit further, and then if I can't find anything with the 6 to rule it out, we'll just take a broad look at how we could possibly lay out high amounts of digits in blues. So what are the options for 6? Of course, there's 1, 5. That would rule out everything. We can't have a 1 dummy. 2, 6. Wait, what am I doing? 2, 4 is the other option. That doesn't work because it only leaves 1, 3, 5. So it can't be 6 either. Okay. I'm surprised that kind of worked there, but I guess it makes sense. So we have a 7 and an 8. That is helpful because and they're both blue. So it means that we have to have 8 different circles that are 8s. Now, that tells us that one of these is an 8 and one of them is blue. At least one of them is blue. It says that one of these is an 8. One of these is an 8. One of these two is an 8. One of these is an 8. What else do we have? There should be some way we can put these together. So let's think about, well, one of these two is an 8. We know these are an 8. We know those are an 8. One of these is. One of these three is. Trying to find some X-wings here where I can start ruling out circles. Okay, this one and this one could never be an 8. Because no matter which one of these is the 8, these two are ruled out, and we know one of these is an 8, so this one's ruled out. So one of these two is an 8, which means one of these two is. Now that means one of these two is. Now it seems like that could work. We'd have to get another one in here somehow. But all of these are technically options. So let's mark these, because we know some things about the 8. Now I'm wondering if I have to correlate the 7 as well. And if we can do that. Because again, now we have one layer of distinguishment. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going with it. Just keep acting like it's right until someone calls you out on it, right? Because we know there are 8 regions that can have circles in them. So if we know that every single one of these regions does have an 8 in it, we are going to know that every region except for one is going to have a 7 in it. Now, neither of these could be 7. We know if this guy doesn't have a 7, it would be one of these two first off. Let's say it does not have a 7. We would know that one of these does. What else would we know? One of these would. Essentially one of these. So it would have to be, well, no, because we don't know which one is the 7. So if this is the 7, that means that one of these two would be, if this is the 7, it means that this one is. In fact, this guy could be a 7 too. We can't rule that out. Oh, I think we're kind of close to getting this thing moving, but we gotta find another way to continue this conversation of circles. And how. So let's go back to what we had thought prior, because maybe now there's a little bit more here to work with. So let's say we have this be the case. What did that do? Because if we can remove the 8s from 2 locations in any of these because of what must occur, And we can. This and this would both have to be yellow in this case. And they cannot be. This one here because this has to get out. This one here because we have a 2 by 2. So this is wrong. There we go. Okay. So this is yellow. This is blue. This is yellow. This is blue. That was helpful. This is not an 8. This is. Therefore, this is not an 8. This is. This has to be, well, both of these have to be blue. Okay. We're making a little bit of progress now. Good. What else that tells us? It tells us this is yellow. This is blue. Can't determine yet which one of these two. This has to be blue. This has to be yellow. Therefore, one of these two must be the 8, because this one can't be, and this one can't be the blue 8. Now, this has to be yellow, because we can't, again, have the checkerboard pattern. Good. What else did that tell us? Come on, there's got to be something else here that got us to. I was going to say the next step might be this guy, but I don't know if he's as impactful. I feel like there should be another coloring position here that we can use. But maybe getting this coloring then does create something here. We'll have to go down that road in a second, maybe. None of these are 8s, but that doesn't say much. Well, it just says one of these is, because again, one of these is... No. I think I'd mismarked this one and never got rid of it, right? Let's not do that. We don't know which one of these is the 8, so we can't... Yeah, we do. Okay. I just had to go again back to my previous thought. Now that we've gotten some of these 8s, this can't be an 8 because we have a 7-8 pair. This can't be an 8 because we have an 8 seeing it. Therefore, the only grouping or the only circle in this region that can be 8 is here, which means this is 7 and this is 8. Therefore, the 7 must be a 1, 2, 4 grouping. Okay, we're getting somewhere. This must be blue. Again, we don't know what's shaded or unshaded at the moment. I guess it technically doesn't matter. Maybe it... I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not quite sure. We're just going to go with this coloring and see how things continue. So what was I doing? So this is a 1, 2, 4, which means this is a 3, 5. Can we go any further with our 8s here? Let's see. Now we do know there's an 8 in one of these. We know none of these. Okay. This is an 8. And that's probably the end of our 8-hood. So now we can look at our 7s. We've gotten to this point, we can do that. Okay. This one's obviously going to take a few minutes to get through this puzzle because we're really having to pour through this stuff. We're already at 40 minutes and I feel like we're just getting started. Doesn't feel like it's been 40 minutes though, but let's go back through our 7s. There can be no 7 in this region now that is on a blue circle. So now we have both of the we have 2 regions that have been ruled out from 7, so every other region must have a 7 on a blue. This can't be a blue 7, so this is a 7, and it is blue. That forces this to be yellow. We can't rule that out as a 7 yet, so let's not do that. Okay, this is a 7-8 pairing now. Therefore, this is blue. This is yellow to avoid the 2x2. Good. So we can get, well, I'll leave that there for now. What further can we say? Can't necessarily rule in a 7 on any of those yet. Okay, one of these is a 7, which means this is not, which means this is. Good, 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 good. We're starting to get somewhere now. It's taken a while, but we're getting there. 7s and 8s are an X-wing, so we're fine with that. Okay, now that we have some 7s, what can we do with it? Let us think. We could put a 3, 4, 5, or 6 in here. Whether that really does much good, because again, we can't have a 9 in the circle. What else? We don't know if this is a 7-8 pairing. We know one of these is a 7. In fact, we know that these are 6, 7, and 9, and this is not 7. We'll just put that in so we have it. This 4 still has not come into play for me at the moment. It might be just something that comes in later, but usually if there's a given digit, it plays a role. So I might just be completely missing it and what it's doing for me, but what else? Or it might start coming into play once we start thinking about it from the opposite side, because we thought about the blue, we haven't thought about our yellow yet, and I think we might just start getting into that now. Because what? Again, we can never put a 9 in any yellow circle, so this can't be a 9. That's more helpful than it seemed. Let's look at some of these things. So again, we can't have 9s, we can't have 8s or 7s in any of these. 6, 5, 4. This could go to 3, these could be 1s or 2s. Try to see if we can get these some sort of rational logic about what they can be. 1, 2, 4, and 6. This is not 4, so we get a tiny bit of help from there. So how many yellows do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the moment. It is possible that we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total. Now, is it possible? Yeah, we can rule out 8 and 7, I think, from all of the yellow circles. I think. Because where can we put them? We would have to have an 8 in every single one of them. That's already proven not to be the case. The 7s, we could only lose one more. This one doesn't have one. This one doesn't have it. this one doesn't have it, so we can't have 7s. So this is not a 7, so it is a 6. This is 7. This is 9. Good, good, good. Can we do anything with this 6 clue? Because again, it's going to be either a 5-1 or a 4-2, and this one can't be 5, so this can't be 1. Actually, it's not entirely true. This could be a 3-3, so let's not... Oh, no, it can't be. Sorry, because there's a 3. Okay. Let's think further. So this 6 now is ruling this out as a 6, and it's also ruling in 6. So I think we have to have a 6 now in every single yellow circle. Because we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, so we must. So this is 6. Therefore, this must be 6. Because this one can't be a 6, but we don't know if it's yellow or blue. We just know it can't be 6, so this one has to take that. This has to be 6. One of these two must be a 6. And one of these is a 6. We said one of these two has to be, so this is not. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Did any of that rule out some things on the blue side? Well, let's look at this here. This is yellow. Do we have anything else as well that I didn't finalize for color? Doesn't look like it at the moment. Okay, so we've got 6s in our yellows. Can we reduce this guy down? Because can it be a 5 is what I'm trying to say. 1, 2, 3, 4. The answer is no. This cannot be 5. This is either a 1, 2 or a 1, 3 by its arrow. Can this logically be a 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it can. Okay. So it either is the last of the Mohicans here in terms of what the yellow circles can be. Oh, maybe not, because we have a couple options. If it is 4, we could have the 4 plus one of these being a 2 and one of these being a 2. And those 2s would work together for each other. Okay. Alrighty. This is from 1, 2, and 4. Does that do anything? Not necessarily. Trying to think on Sudoku now to use that side to figure out maybe where some of this other information must go. Now, okay, let's think about what's left in blue. So we're going to switch back again. We've got an 8 and a 7. How many do we have left? We know these are 8s and 7, because this thing I think we can reduce. I don't think this is going to be a 6. 1, 2, let's say 3, 4. No, because the 6 is yellow. So it looks like there's only 3 places. That might be what cuts this down, because 6 doesn't ever work. Well, we can't say it's necessary 3. It's if we had a 6, there's only 6 valid places that, or 3 valid places that the 6 could go. Let's think on the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could work. Okay. Okay, so again, we're going to have to figure out our next move. We know this yellow has to get out at some point. We don't know where it does it currently. Is there more Sudoku that we can just run through? Curious about that. So let's look at that. Let's look at our, not the 8s, obviously, because we went through this pretty well. The 7s, there is a 7 in one of these 3. One of these is 7. Is it possible this is going to be a 7? I guess it is. Because this could be a 7, 2, and this could be a 9. Oh, but it can never be a 9. 9s can't ever be in a circle. This is not 7. So this is 7, which means this is 6. Okay, that's a little bit. Okay, so this is a 6, 7, 8 grouping. And this one we said couldn't be a 6 for some reason. Oh, because one of these must be for the yellow. That was the reasoning why that was that. Okay. We know one of these is a 4 now, because we can't have any of these, so this is not. So let's continue with our Sudoku then, because we're getting something, so we might as well stay on the train, right? Let's continue with the 6s. Yes, we can do 6s. This is a 6. What else? We know one of those is a 6. And we know it's yellow. And the 7 and the 8 is blue. Because now this cannot be a 7 anymore. We had ruled it out previously as not being an 8. But a 7 and an 8 must go in this region, so therefore this is blue. Now, can we determine anything about this guy, or do we want to take a little bit more time on the Sudoku side just to see if there's anything else there? Don't think there is. Let's look at this guy. Can we rule out either color? What if this is like this? That seems perfectly doable. This would have to get out like that. And this would tie in. Again, I'm not going to go too far down this road. That all seems to work. What if it was blue? These would have to get out. It's seeming like this would work too. Don't see anything immediately that says otherwise. Let's go back to what we were thinking about yellow. Because I think we said one of these had to be 6, didn't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so this can't be, so this is. This is not a 6, by the way. So this has to be yellow. That was the path we just needed to take. These are blue. Now we can go through and get this stuff going. Yellow. This has to get out from this little nook it's in. And what more can we now do? We know one of these is yellow. It could be either, I think, looking at how that plays out. Now, okay, we can go back here. We know this is the 7-8 pair because we had to have both the 7 and 8 in blue, so we can get rid of this markings like that. Now we've got a 7-8 pair that gives us our 6, and this is the yellow, this is the blue. This has to get out there. Okay. Whew, we're getting through it. Like I said, it's taken some time to do this, but we are getting through it, so that's good. Now, this yellow has to get out. This has to be blue. we're going to have these two guys left over, and we can probably use our circles to figure that out. Let's think about it. We can also think about the remaining blue circles, because we've got all of our 7s and 8s. We've got, that's what we need to do. So this blue now, because we've got all of our circles indoctrinated, we'll say, there's only 3 circles left, and we know this guy has to be blue, and it has to be that 3. Therefore, these are all 3s, and they are all blue. That forces yellow. Now we're good. Now we can run with this thing. Hopefully, we are there. So, we've got the shaded and unshaded. Now, I don't think there's any way to, like, we could flip this from shaded to unshaded, and I don't think there's any way to really determine which one is which. We just know it's the I don't even know the word I could think of, but we know this is the patterning. We just don't technically know what's shaded and what's unshaded. It could be flip-flopped. Anyway, the 3 here gives us our 5 and our 3. And what else did we get out of this? Let's go back to our Sudoku. We can finish the 6. Can we finish the 7s or 8s at all? Don't think we can. No. So we just did our 6s. We only have 1 5. There's not much we can do there. 4, we only have the 1 4. What is this guy? Oh, we never finished. Wait. Oh, I did this wrong. I just realized I forgot. We have to go back to here. The yellow. I think this is actually 4. Okay, I'm glad I caught that there without going too far down the road. I somehow was blind to this guy here, and this guy actually. They were kind of just recessed themselves into the colors, I guess. So we have 3 blues. No, it is actually 3, but the color change is a little bit different. Okay, because we have a yellow 3 or 4. The only thing that could happen is that we have 3 yellows left over, which means we have 3 blues left over. These are all 3s, and we'll do a quick check to make sure there's no issue there. There shouldn't be. This will be correct. So now this is yellow, which means this is blue. It's just a little flip-flop of those colors, but I was right there by mistake, but going back and looking at it, we got it how we needed to get. So there we go. This still ends up being a 5 and a 3. And I thought I saw something else. I did. This is a 3. Was that the end of the 3s? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is a 3. So we have a 3 on it, so it has to be an 8, because the 7 can't ever have a 3. So that's 8 and 7. That's going to sort out the rest of this, which we would not have been able to do the way I had looked at it previously. So the 8s and the 7s should all be done now. Good. Alrighty, so now we can finally get going. This is a 1, 2. These have to be 4, 5, and 9. Is there anything? Nope, not quite. We're just going to have to find the right location to see. This 6 here. Okay, it can't be 3, 3 because of this guy, and it can't be 4, 2 because of this guy. So this is a 1, 5 pair. Now, that doesn't actually give us a digit, but we can differentiate that. Can we figure this guy out? It doesn't look like it just yet. Okay, so let's look elsewhere for a second and see what we can get. The 7, I hadn't looked at the 7 yet. Can't be 6, 1, or 4, 3, so it must be 1, 5. That 1, what am I doing? 2, 5. I can add. Goodness gracious. It can't be 1, 6. It can't be 4, 3, so it must be 2, 5. Again, we still don't have the 2 or the 5 sorted, but we're going to have to get there eventually. This is a 1, 4 pair because we have the 8, so it's a 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. We do now going across this row, so we can do something here. These are 5 and 9. Okay. It doesn't want to give up this grouping yet. Where else can we look where we're going to be able to find a digit and then we can actually get this thing solved? Let's look at this column. We need a 4. Can't go there, but it could go in either of these two down here. What are the digits left over? 4, 5, and 9 again. So this is not 4. We're eventually going to find something where a 4 or a 5 gets this thing going, but what about you guys? 2, this is 4, 5, or 9 as well. Again, I'll go back to here. 1 could go anywhere, 2 could go anywhere, 5 can go most places. And then 9 can go most places. Okay. Let's just look at what we have again, because searching around and not finding what I need. So we have 3s done. 4s and 5s, we don't have enough information. 6s, we could do the 6s. This is a 6. The 7s and 8s, we said we're done. Okay, so that didn't help out as much, although what do we have left in this column now? Because there's only 3 digits left. We've got 2, 5, and 8. No. 2, 5, and 9. This is not 5. Okay, this is a 4. Finally, we get a little something there, which means this isn't. This is, again, 1, 2, or 9. Okay. One of these rows or columns is going to have something. It's the question of which one. And it's probably just out in front of me, but I haven't looked in that direction yet. So we're just going to keep looking until we find something useful. It's not popping up right now. This is from 1, 2, 5, and 9. No, this is just muddying up everything here. Where's this thing? Where is it? One of these is a 2. There we go. Finally saw the right column. So this column, the 2 must go here. So therefore this is a 1 and a 2. And hopefully that's going to start opening something up. This is 4 and 1. Yes. Thank you. 4, 1, 2. Okay. That gives us a 5 and a 2. 2, please. 1 and 2. This is 5. Good. What's this one? It is a 9. What are these two? 1 and 4. Doesn't look up that way, but it does look across at least. Means this is a 4. These are not 4s. therefore this is. If that's a 4, this is a 2. Then we can go further. 1, 2, 9, 1. This is not 1 or 5. So we get a 2, 9 pair, which means this is the 2, this is the 9, this is 5. This is 4, 1, 4. There we go, finally. This is 9. These are not, so this is. No, this is not. Okay, here. 5 and 2 and 1. That gives us 5 and 4 and 9. These are 2 and 5, right? Yes, these are 5 and 9. So this is the 5, this is the 9. That forces the 2 and the 5. So we're just about there. Now we get a 9 and a 5. And this guy here is a 1. Ooh, we did it. That took a while. About an hour, I should say, because it probably had about 3 or 4 minutes worth of babbling, I should say. Yay, congratulations, thanks for playing. So here's the code. That was what you'd put into Logic Masters Germany to prove that you've done it. Took an hour. Wow. It's only been solved about, I think it said 90 times. What was it? 89 times in a week. So it had a little bit of difficulty to it, but that's cool. Anyway, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this one. It was, again, a little bit more difficulty. Just a little bit, though. It was really just kind of getting in here and finding the right way to do things and to sorting them out. It took me a little while to get into the counting circles, and that would have probably helped a little bit earlier, but either way, like I said, it took an hour. It didn't feel like I was self-distant for an hour. It felt a lot less than that. So anywho, again, hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, donate, join, all of that good stuff helps the channel immensely, no matter what you do. So anyway, I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.